Hi, welcome to the weekend, thank God. Have a nice brunch. This is a brunch alert on weekends. And what I try to do on the weekends is to set some of the current developments into an historic context. And today I'd like to talk about the comparison between George H.W. Bush, Bush-41, and Barack Obama. The parallels between them are really eerie about the unfolding of their administrations and how they handled an economic recession. Both presidents took office, and almost the first thing they did was break their campaign promises. Obama said he'd close Guantanamo, he'd get out of Iraq, he'd get out of Afghanistan, he'd roll back the provisions of the Patriot Act, he didn't do public option on health insurance, didn't do any of that. And he really alienated his base in the opening months of his presidency. No sooner had Bush been elected than he violated his campaign commitment, which was read my lips, no new taxes. That was the core of his campaign message. And in his first year and a half, he cut a deal with the Democrats to raise taxes, violating his commitment. Then each of them was kind of rescued from that by a big foreign policy victory. In the case of Bush, it was, of course, the Kuwait War. Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, conquered it. Bush sent in U.S. troops and rolled it back, and didn't destroy Saddam Hussein, but certainly restored the independence of Kuwait and what we called a New World Order at that point. His popularity was at 91% job approval on the day that that war ended. And President Obama, in the killing of Osama bin Laden, had a very important foreign policy success in May of 2011, when a guy who had eluded the U.S. government for a decade and was responsible for the horrific murder of 3,000 people was finally killed. And Obama didn't go up to 91%, but his job approval, which had been in the mid-40s, rose up to the mid-50s in most polls. Then an economic recession took the wind out of both of their sails. Now, in Bush's case, there had been a kind of stagnating prosperity, the closing years of the Reagan prosperity, and there were 4 signs of a recession, but it really only hit after the Kuwait War was over. And all of a sudden, the United States, which had really not had any serious economic problems for almost a decade, suddenly confronted high unemployment. Now we would be euphoric if we had what we considered then to be high unemployment, 7 or 8%. But it was a big deal then. Obama, of course, took office amid economic turmoil and had a recession. But it was beginning to look in January, February, March, and April like we were coming out of the recession. There were robust job creation numbers, the unemployment rate fell, and it looked as if we were having a recovery. The only question was, would it be a steep one or a gradual one? And then, as soon as the bin Laden killing took place, right after that, the economy fell apart. No jobs were created in May, none were created in June, very few were created in July. The economic growth in the second quarter just fell apart, and Obama was confronting a real recession. And this time there's no saying that it was Bush's recession, it was obviously Obama's recession. Now, in both cases, the presidents had to enter the contest handicapped by a terrible economy. And we need to see how they handle it. Bush had a serious problem, which is that he decided to do nothing. He decided to lower interest rates a little bit, did not reduce taxes, and basically decided to let the laissez-faire economy work its way out of it. And he was right. By the time he was leaving office, the recession had run its course, and we had a robust economic growth in the last quarter of his presidency, but by then the election was held and he was out. Obama, on the other hand, began with a tremendous level of activity to deal with the recession, but now he's done everything he can. I mean, the spending has gone crazy, the debt has gone berserk, the interest rates are at 0, we've tripled the money supply, there's nothing left for him to do. So in both cases, one by volition and the other by choice, these presidents are entering a rotten economy, seeking re-election, with virtually no arrows in their quiver to deal with it. And in both cases, they're running against outsiders from Washington, D.C. Bill Clinton had hardly ever set foot in the place since college. He'd been in Arkansas. And Romney, Perry or Kane or any of those candidates are not Washington figures, and Bachmann, who is, has always been an outsider in Washington. So it's interesting to look at those two parallels, and may the Lord grant that they both have the same outcome, a one-term president. Thanks for watching.